Do you want to successfully complete the C168 Objective Assessment exam? Then you are in the right place. Our website provides a list of questions and answers for your success in the C168 OA exam for free. We understand that acing your OA exam can be quite challenging. That's why we provide completely free exam guides and practice questions for you. In this video, we will cover questions from argument components, deductive versus inductive logic, relevance fallacies, causal reasoning and fallacies, and ambiguity and structural fallacies. So, let's get started. 1. What type of statement is not backed by reasoning or evidence, but is intended to inform or provide details? A. Premise. B. Argument. C. Report. D. Assumption. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Report. Explanation. Option C is correct because a report provides facts or information without trying to persuade the audience or provide reasoning for a conclusion. It simply presents details such as a weather report stating tomorrow's forecast. Option A is incorrect because a premise is a reason or statement used to support a conclusion within an argument. Option B is incorrect because an argument uses a set of reasons to persuade an audience of a conclusion. Option D is incorrect because an assumption is a statement that is taken for granted or accepted as true without proof. Two. What do we call reasoning that relies on a hypothesis and testing to determine if the hypothesis is accurate? A. Deductive reasoning. B. Hypothetical reasoning. C. Analogical reasoning. D. Inductive reasoning. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Hypothetical reasoning. Explanation. Option B is correct because hypothetical reasoning involves forming a hypothesis or an educated guess, and then systematically testing it to see if it is correct. This is a common method used in scientific, investigation, and problem solving. Option A is incorrect because deductive reasoning starts with a general rule and applies it to a specific case to reach a certain conclusion. Option C is incorrect because analogical reasoning makes a conclusion based on a comparison between two similar things. Option D is incorrect because inductive reasoning uses specific observations to form a probable general conclusion. Three. Which of the following reasoning methods is most likely to reach conclusions based on a continuous relationship between factors? A. Mills' method of agreement. B. Mills' method of concomitant variation. C. Mills' method of difference. D. Mills' joint method. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Mills' method of concomitant variation. Explanation. Option B is correct because Mills' method of concomitant variation looks for a correlation where two factors vary or change together. If one factor increases and the other also consistently increases or decreases, it suggests a potential causal relationship between them. Option A is incorrect because the method of agreement looks for a single common factor present in multiple instances where an effect occurs. Option C is incorrect because the method of difference compares an instance where an effect occurs with an instance where it does not, looking for the one key difference. Option D is incorrect because the joint method combines the methods of agreement and difference. Four. What fallacy occurs when a person claims something is true because it is popular or widely supported? A. Straw person. B. Appeal to the people. C. False dichotomy. D. Ad hominem. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B, appeal to the people. Explanation, option B is correct because an appeal to the people, also known as the bandwagon fallacy or ad populum, is the error of arguing that a claim must be true or good simply because many people believe it. The popularity of an idea is not evidence of its truth. Option A is incorrect because a straw person fallacy involves misrepresenting an opponent's argument to make it easier to attack. Option C is incorrect because a false dichotomy fallacy presents only two options as the only possibilities when more exist. Option D is incorrect because an ad hominem fallacy involves attacking the person making the argument rather than the argument itself. Five. What type of reasoning attempts to draw conclusions that are probable but not certain? A. Deductive reasoning. B. Inductive reasoning. C. Causal reasoning. D. Analogical reasoning. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Inductive reasoning. Explanation. Option B is correct because inductive reasoning involves making generalizations based on specific observations or evidence. The conclusions are probable and likely true, but they are not guaranteed to be certain because they are based on a limited set of examples. Option A is incorrect because deductive reasoning aims to provide conclusions that are absolutely certain, provided the premises are true. Option C is incorrect because causal reasoning specifically focuses on identifying cause and effect relationships. Option D is incorrect because analogical reasoning draws conclusions based on similarities between different things. Six. What do we call the mental process of drawing conclusions based on reasons? A. Assumption. B. Inference. C. Reasoning. D. Correlation. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Reasoning. Explanation. Option C is correct because reasoning is the cognitive process of thinking logically to form a conclusion or judgment based on a set of reasons or premises. It is the act of figuring things out. Option A is incorrect because an assumption is something accepted as true without proof. Option B is incorrect because an inference is the conclusion that is reached through the process of reasoning. Reasoning is the process, while an inference is the product. Option D is incorrect because a correlation is a mutual relationship or connection between two or more things, which may or may not be causal. 7. What fallacy occurs when a conclusion is reached by assuming the very point that is in question? A. Begging the question. B. Post hoc fallacy. C. Straw person. D. False dichotomy. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. A. Begging the question. Explanation. Option A is correct because begging the question, also known as circular reasoning, is a fallacy where an argument's premise assumes the truth of the conclusion instead of supporting it. The argument essentially says X is true because X is true, in a disguised way. Option B is incorrect because a post hoc fallacy assumes causation based on a sequence of events. Option C is incorrect because a straw person fallacy misrepresents an opponent's argument. Option D is incorrect because a false dichotomy fallacy presents only two choices when more exist. Eight. Which of the following best describes an if-then statement in reasoning? A. Premise. B. assumption. C, conditional. D, correlation. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C, conditional. Explanation. Option C is correct because a conditional statement is a logical statement structured in an if-then format. It establishes a relationship where if the first part is true, then the second part must also be true. Option A is incorrect because a premise is a reason offered in support of a conclusion in any argument, not specifically an if-then structure. Option B is incorrect because an assumption is a statement taken for granted. Option D is incorrect because a correlation is a relationship between two variables, but it is not expressed as a logical if-then statement. Nine. What term describes a condition that must be present for an effect to occur? A. Sufficient condition. B. Proximal cause. C. Necessary condition. D. Assumption. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Necessary condition. Explanation. Option C is correct because a necessary condition is a prerequisite. Without it, a particular effect cannot occur. For example, oxygen is a necessary condition for combustion. Option A is incorrect because a sufficient condition is one that, if present, guarantees that the effect will occur, but it may not be the only condition that can cause the effect. Option B is incorrect because a proximal cause is the most immediate event that leads to an effect. Option D is incorrect because an assumption is a belief accepted without proof. Ten. Which reasoning method aims to form conclusions about a population based on a representative sample? A. Deductive reasoning. B. Enumerative induction. C. Analogical reasoning. D. Hypothetical reasoning. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Enumerative induction. Explanation. Option B is correct because enumerative induction is a form of reasoning that involves observing a sample of a group, noting a shared quality, and then generalizing that this quality likely applies to the entire group or population. Option A is incorrect because deductive reasoning applies a general rule to a specific case. Option C is incorrect because analogical reasoning makes conclusions based on comparing two similar things. Option D is incorrect because hypothetical reasoning involves creating and testing a hypothesis. (11) What is a set of unsupported statements intended to convey information or a mental image called A. Premise. B. Description. C. Argument. D. Inference. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Description. Explanation. Option B is correct because a description is a set of statements that aims to provide a mental picture or details about something's characteristics. It focuses on conveying information or a sensory impression without providing reasons to support a conclusion. Option A is incorrect because a premise is a reason that supports a conclusion in an argument. Option C is incorrect because an argument uses reasons to support a conclusion. Option D is incorrect because an inference is a conclusion reached through reasoning. (12) What fallacy involves distracting from the main issue by introducing an irrelevant topic? A. Red herring. B. Straw person. C. False dichotomy. D. Begging the question. Do you know the answer? Correct answer A. Red herring. Explanation. Option A is correct because a red herring is a fallacy in which an irrelevant topic is introduced into an argument to divert the attention of listeners or readers from the original issue. Option B is incorrect because a straw person fallacy misrepresents an argument to make it easier to attack. Option C is incorrect because a false dichotomy fallacy limits the options to only two when more exist. Option D is incorrect because begging the question is a form of circular reasoning. (13) What fallacy occurs when someone assumes causation based only on the sequence of events? A. Post hoc fallacy. B. Ad hominem. C. Begging the question. D. False dichotomy. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer A. Post hoc fallacy. Explanation. Option A is correct. The post hoc fallacy, short for post hoc, ergo propter hoc, is the logical error of assuming that because one event followed another, the first event must have caused the second. Option B is incorrect because an ad hominem fallacy attacks the person making the argument. Option C is incorrect because begging the question is a form of circular reasoning. Option D is incorrect because a false dichotomy fallacy limits the options to only two choices. (14) What is it called when reasoning is affected by personal biases or values, leading to different perceptions of the same event? A. Correlation. B. Assumption. C. Personal observation. D. Deduction. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Personal observation. Explanation. Option C is correct because our personal observations are often subjective and influenced by our unique backgrounds, beliefs, and values. This can lead different individuals to interpret or recall the same event in very different ways. Option A is incorrect because correlation is a mutual relationship between two or more things. Option B is incorrect because an assumption is something taken for granted without proof. Option D is incorrect because deduction is a formal type of reasoning from general principles to specific conclusions. (15) What fallacy occurs when a conclusion is drawn from a flawed analogy? A. Straw person. B. Red herring. C. False dichotomy. D. Faulty analogy. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, D. Faulty analogy. Explanation. Option D is correct because a faulty analogy, or weak analogy, is a fallacy where an argument is based on a comparison of two things that are not similar in the relevant aspects, making the comparison misleading and the conclusion unreliable. Option A is incorrect because a straw person fallacy misrepresents an argument. Option B is incorrect because a red herring is a distraction. Option C is incorrect because a false dichotomy fallacy presents only two options. (16) What reasoning method relies on drawing conclusions from a general rule to a specific instance? A. Deductive reasoning. B. Inductive reasoning. C. Causal reasoning. D. Analogical reasoning. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, A. Deductive reasoning. Explanation. Option A is correct, because deductive reasoning is a logical process that starts with a general principle or premise and applies it to a specific case to arrive at a conclusion that is certain if the premise is true. Option B is incorrect because inductive reasoning works in the opposite direction, from specific instances to a general conclusion. Option C is incorrect because causal reasoning focuses on identifying cause and effect relationships. Option D is incorrect because analogical reasoning draws conclusions from comparisons. (17) What fallacy occurs when a person assumes that what is true for the whole is also true for the parts? A. Division. B. Composition. C. False dichotomy. D. Straw person. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, A. Division. Explanation. Option A is correct because the fallacy of division is the error of assuming that a property of a group or a whole must also be a property of each individual member or part. Option B is incorrect because the fallacy of composition is the opposite, assuming that what is true of the parts must be true of the whole. Option C is incorrect because a false dichotomy presents only two choices when more exist. Option D is incorrect because a straw person fallacy misrepresents an argument to make it easier to attack. (18) What fallacy involves concluding that something is true because a person in authority believes it to be true? A. Appeal to authority. B. Straw person. C. False dichotomy. D. Red herring. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, A. Appeal to authority. Explanation. Option A is correct because an appeal to authority is a fallacy that occurs when one argues that a claim is true simply because an authority figure or expert endorsed it. This becomes fallacious if the authority is not an expert on the specific topic in question. Option B is incorrect because a straw person fallacy misrepresents an argument. Option C is incorrect because a false dichotomy presents only two choices. Option D is incorrect because a red herring is a distraction from the main argument. (19) What type of argument contains at least one unstated premise? A. Non-argument. B. Enthymeme. C. Report. D. Description. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Enthymeme. Explanation. Option B is correct because an enthymeme is an argument in which one premise is not explicitly stated. The speaker or writer assumes that the audience will understand and supply the missing premise, making the argument more concise. Option A is incorrect because a non-argument lacks a logical structure of premises and a conclusion. Option C is incorrect because a report provides information without argumentation. Option D is incorrect because a description provides details to create a mental image. (20) What fallacy occurs when an arguer uses emotions to manipulate the audience into accepting their argument? A. Appeal to emotion. B. Straw person. C. False dichotomy. D. Red herring. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, A. Appeal to emotion. Explanation. Option A is correct because an appeal to emotion is a fallacy in which the arguer attempts to persuade the audience by provoking an emotional response rather than by providing relevant evidence and logical reasoning. Option B is incorrect because a straw person fallacy misrepresents an opponent's argument. Option C is incorrect because a false dichotomy limits choices to only two. Option D is incorrect because a red herring introduces an irrelevant topic to distract. 𝗬𝗢𝗨, what is it called when two events happen around the same time, but the relationship might be coincidental? A. Inductive reasoning. B. Causation. C. Correlation. D. Deductive reasoning. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Correlation. Explanation. Option C is correct because a correlation is an observed relationship or association between two events or variables. However, a correlation does not automatically prove that one causes the other. The relationship could be coincidental or caused by a third unobserved factor. Option A is incorrect because inductive reasoning is a method of forming generalizations. Option B is incorrect because causation means that one event directly brings about another event. Option D is incorrect because deductive reasoning is a method of reaching certain conclusions from general rules. 22. What fallacy involves assuming that what is true for the parts is also true for the whole? A. Division. B. Composition. C. Straw person. D. Red herring. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Composition. Explanation. Option B is correct because the fallacy of composition is the error of assuming that because the individual parts of a whole have a certain property, the whole itself must also have that property. Option A is incorrect because the fallacy of division is the opposite, assuming that what is true of the whole is also true of its parts. Option C is incorrect because a straw person fallacy involves misrepresenting an argument. Option D is incorrect because a red herring is a distraction. 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥. What type of argument presents reasons that, if true, would make the conclusion absolutely certain? A. Strong inductive argument. B. Valid deductive argument. C. Sound inductive argument. D. Weak deductive argument. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Valid deductive argument. Explanation. Option B is correct, because a valid deductive argument is structured in such a way that if its premises are assumed to be true, the conclusion must necessarily be true. The validity is about the logical connection, not the actual truth of the premises. Option A is incorrect because an inductive argument, even a strong one, only makes the conclusion probable, not certain. Option C is incorrect because sound is a term for deductive arguments, not inductive ones. Option D is incorrect because a weak or invalid deductive argument fails to provide a necessary link between its premises and conclusion. 24. A claim like all WGU students are hardworking is best described as what type of statement if it's based on observing many WGU students? A. A definition. B. A deductive conclusion. C. An empirical generalization. D. A value judgment. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. An empirical generalization. Explanation. Option C is correct because an empirical generalization is a broad statement about an entire group that is based on observations or experiences with a sample of that group. Concluding that all students are hardworking, based on observing many, is a classic example. Option A is incorrect because this statement is an observation-based claim, not a definition of terms. Option B is incorrect because this conclusion is derived from specific instances, not from a general rule. Option D is incorrect because while hardworking has a positive value, the statement is presented as a generalization of an observed trait, not a judgment of worth. 25. If an argument's premises are true and its conclusion necessarily follows from those premises, the argument is called A. Strong, B. Cogent, C. Sound, D. Probable. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Sound. Explanation. Option C is correct because a sound argument is a deductive argument that meets two conditions. It must be valid, and all of its premises must be true. A sound argument guarantees a true conclusion. Option A is incorrect because strong is a term used to evaluate inductive arguments. Option B is incorrect because cogent is a term for a strong inductive argument with true premises. Option D is incorrect because probable describes the likelihood of a conclusion in an inductive argument, not the quality of a deductive argument. 26. What is the term for a general principle or belief that is accepted as true without proof, serving as a starting point for reasoning? A. Conclusion. B. Hypothesis. C. Axiom. D. Theory. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Axiom. Explanation. Option C is correct because an axiom, or postulate, is a foundational statement or proposition that is accepted as true without requiring proof. It serves as a starting point for building a logical system or theory. Option A is incorrect because a conclusion is the end point of a line of reasoning. Option B is incorrect because a hypothesis is a testable explanation or prediction. Option D is incorrect because a theory is a well-substantiated explanation of some aspect of the natural world based on a body of evidence. 27. A debater says you're either with us all the way or you're against us. This is an example of which fallacy? A. Appeal to pity. B. False dichotomy. C. Hasty generalization. D. Slippery slope. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. False dichotomy. Explanation. Option B is correct because this statement is a false dichotomy, also known as a false dilemma. It fallaciously presents only two extreme options as the sole possibilities, ignoring the existence of middle ground or alternative positions. Option A is incorrect because an appeal to pity attempts to evoke sympathy. Option C is incorrect because a hasty generalization draws a broad conclusion from insufficient evidence. Option D is incorrect because a slippery slope fallacy argues that a small first step will lead to a chain of negative events. "28. My new diet plan is working because I've lost weight since I started it." This statement might commit which fallacy if other factors are ignored? A. Appeal to ignorance. B. Post hoc ergo propter hoc. C. Begging the question. D. Ad hominem. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Post hoc ergo propter hoc. Explanation. Option B is correct because this is a potential post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy. The person assumes the diet caused the weight loss simply because the weight loss occurred after starting the diet, ignoring other possible causes like increased exercise or other lifestyle changes. Option A is incorrect because an appeal to ignorance argues something is true because it hasn't been proven false. Option C is incorrect because begging the question is a form of circular reasoning. Option D is incorrect because an ad hominem fallacy attacks the person making the argument. 29. Which type of definition tries to reduce the vagueness of a word by setting clear boundaries for its use. A. Stipulative definition. B. Lexical definition. C. Precising definition. D. Persuasive definition. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Precising definition. Explanation. Option C is correct because a precising definition is used to make the meaning of a vague word more specific and clear for a particular context. It clarifies boundaries without changing the word's fundamental dictionary meaning. Option A is incorrect because a stipulative definition assigns a new meaning to a word. Option B is incorrect because a lexical definition reports the standard dictionary meaning of a word. Option D is incorrect because a persuasive definition uses emotionally charged language to influence the audience's attitude. 30. If someone says we shouldn't listen to Dr. Smith's economic ideas because he got a D in college math, what fallacy are they committing? A. Straw person. B. Appeal to force. C. Ad hominem. D. Red herring. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Ad hominem. Explanation. Option C is correct because this is an ad hominem fallacy. The argument attacks Dr. Smith's character or past instead of addressing the merits or flaws of his actual economic ideas. The attack is irrelevant to the substance of the argument. Option A is incorrect because a straw person fallacy would involve misrepresenting Dr. Smith's ideas. Option B is incorrect because an appeal to force uses threats. Option D is incorrect because a red herring would introduce a different, unrelated topic. 31. This new law will be terrible for the country. My neighbour, who is a smart guy, said so. This reasoning relies on which fallacy? A. Appeal to unqualified authority. B. Hasty generalization. C. Post hoc fallacy. D. Slippery slope. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, A. Appeal to unqualified authority. Explanation. Option A is correct because this is an appeal to unqualified authority. The argument relies on the opinion of a neighbour who, despite being a smart guy, is not presented as a qualified expert in law, economics or public policy, making his opinion insufficient evidence for the claim. Option B is incorrect because a hasty generalization would involve drawing a broad conclusion from a single, unrepresentative example of the law's effect. Option C is incorrect because a post hoc fallacy involves an error in causal reasoning based on sequence. Option D is incorrect because a slippery slope fallacy would argue that the law will trigger a series of disastrous consequences. (32) What is the primary aim of an argument from analogy? A. To prove a conclusion with absolute certainty. B. To show that because two things are similar in some ways, they are likely similar in another specific way. C. To define a term by comparing it to something else. D. To list as many similarities as possible between two objects. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. To show that because two things are similar in some ways, they are likely similar in another specific way. Explanation. Option B is correct because an argument from analogy works by highlighting known similarities between two things to suggest that they are also likely to be similar in another, less obvious way. The strength of the argument depends on the relevance of the similarities. Option A is incorrect because analogies are a form of inductive reasoning and provide probable, not certain conclusions. Option C is incorrect because that describes an analogical definition, not an argument. Option D is incorrect because simply listing similarities is not an argument. The similarities must be used to support a conclusion. 33. If you don't vote for this candidate, our country will fall into chaos. This statement is an example of which fallacy? A. Appeal to pity. B. Appeal to force. C. False cause. D. Equivocation. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Appeal to force. Explanation. Option B is correct because this statement uses an appeal to force or an appeal to fear. It attempts to coerce or persuade by threatening a negative consequence rather than by providing rational arguments for the candidate. Option A is incorrect because an appeal to pity would try to make the audience feel sorry for the candidate or their supporters. Option C is incorrect because a false cause fallacy involves a mistaken assumption about what caused an event. Option D is incorrect because equivocation involves using a word with multiple meanings in a misleading way. 34. A statement that describes a typical characteristic of a group but does not apply to every single member is A. Universal generalization. B. Statistical generalization. C. Hasty generalization. D. Anecdotal generalization. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Statistical generalization. Explanation. Option B is correct because a statistical generalization makes a claim about a proportion or percentage of a group. It acknowledges that the characteristic does not apply to every single member of the group. Option A is incorrect because a universal generalization claims that a characteristic applies to all members of a group without exception. Option C is incorrect because a hasty generalization is a fallacy where a conclusion is drawn from an inadequate or unrepresentative sample. Option D is incorrect because an anecdotal generalization is a fallacy that relies on a personal story as evidence for a broad claim. 35. What is the logical flaw in an argument called if its premises do not actually support its conclusion, even if the premises are true? A. False premise. B. Non sequitur. C. Soundness error. D. Truth error. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Non sequitur. Explanation. Option B is correct because a non sequitur, which is Latin for "it does not follow," is a conclusion that does not logically follow from the premises that precede it. There is a fundamental disconnect in the reasoning. Option A is incorrect because a false premise is an error in the truth of a starting reason, not in the logical connection. Option C is incorrect because a soundness error means a deductive argument is either invalid or has a false premise. Option D is incorrect because truth error is not a standard term in logic. 36. When evaluating an argument, what does it mean to assess its validity? A. To check if the premises are true. B. To check if the conclusion is true. C. To check if the conclusion logically follows from the premises, assuming the premises are true. D. To check if the argument is persuasive. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. To check if the conclusion logically follows from the premises, assuming the premises are true. Explanation. Option C is correct because in logic, assessing validity is about checking the argument structure. A deductive argument is valid if its conclusion is a logical necessity of its premises. Validity is independent of whether the premises are actually true. Option A is incorrect because checking the truth of the premises is part of assessing an argument's soundness, not its validity. Option B is incorrect because the conclusion's truth depends on both validity and the truth of the premises. Option D is incorrect because persuasiveness is a matter of rhetoric, not logical validity. 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗟𝗟. A syllogism in logic is a type of A. Inductive argument with 3 parts. B. Deductive argument with 2 premises and 1 conclusion. C. Fallacy based on emotional appeal. D. Statement that is always true. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Deductive argument with 2 premises and 1 conclusion. Explanation. Option B is correct because a syllogism is a classic form of deductive reasoning consisting of a major premise, a minor premise, and a conclusion that logically follows from them. Option A is incorrect because syllogisms are deductive, not inductive. Option C is incorrect because while a syllogism can be fallacious, it is a form of argument, not a specific fallacy. Option D is incorrect because a syllogism is an argument, not a single statement, and its conclusion is only true if the argument is sound. 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗟𝗟. If an inductive argument has true premises, and its conclusion is very likely to be true based on those premises, the argument is called A. Valid, B. Sound, C. Strong, D. Certain. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Strong. Explanation. Option C is correct because a strong inductive argument is one in which the truth of the premises makes the conclusion highly probable. If a strong argument also has true premises, it is called a cogent argument. Option A is incorrect because valid is a term used for deductive arguments where the conclusion is guaranteed. Option B is incorrect because sound is a term for a valid deductive argument with true premises. Option D is incorrect because inductive arguments yield probable conclusions, not certain ones. 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗟. What kind of definition reports the ordinary dictionary meaning of a word? A. Stipulative definition. B. Lexical definition. C. Precising definition. D. Theoretical definition. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Lexical definition. Explanation. Option B is correct because a lexical definition is the conventional or dictionary meaning of a word. It describes how the word is commonly used in a particular language. Option A is incorrect because a stipulative definition assigns a new meaning to a word for a specific purpose. Option C is incorrect because a precising definition clarifies the meaning of a vague word. Option D is incorrect because a theoretical definition explains a term within the context of a broader scientific or philosophical theory. 40. You should buy this car because it's the most popular model this year. This argument primarily uses A. Appeal to authority, B. Appeal to emotion, C. Appeal to the people, D. Deductive reasoning. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Appeal to the people. Explanation. Option C is correct because this argument uses an appeal to the people, or the bandwagon effect. It suggests that you should buy the car because of its popularity, implying that if many others are buying it, it must be a good choice. Option A is incorrect because the argument does not cite an expert's opinion. Option B is incorrect because the argument appeals to a sense of conformity, not a specific emotion like pity or fear. Option D is incorrect because this is an informal fallacy, not a formal deductive argument. 𝗬𝗢. The process of identifying the unstated parts of an argument is crucial for understanding an A. Analogy, B. 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗟𝗟, C. Report, D. Explanation. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗟𝗟. Explanation. Option B is correct because an 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗟 is an argument with an unstated premise or conclusion. To fully analyze and evaluate such an argument, one must first identify and make explicit the parts that have been left unsaid. Option A is incorrect because an analogy is a comparison used for reasoning. Option C is incorrect because a report is a set of informational statements, not an argument. Option D is incorrect because an explanation seeks to tell why something is the case, which differs from an argument that seeks to prove that something is the case. 𝗬𝗢. When a general statement is applied to a specific case that it doesn't properly fit, this is the fallacy of A. Hasty generalization, B. Accident, C. False cause, D. Weak analogy. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Accident. Explanation. Option B is correct because the fallacy of accident occurs when a general rule is inappropriately applied to a specific case that is an exception to the rule. It ignores the unique circumstances of the specific case. Option A is incorrect because a hasty generalization is the opposite error, drawing a general rule from an insufficient number of specific cases. Option C is incorrect because a false cause fallacy involves a mistake in causal reasoning. Option D is incorrect because a weak analogy involves a flawed comparison. 𝗬𝗢. What is the term for a claim that expresses a value judgment about what is good, bad, right or wrong? A. Descriptive statement, B. Prescriptive statement, C. Factual claim, D. Empirical statement. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Prescriptive statement. Explanation. Option B is correct because a prescriptive statement, also known as a normative statement, expresses a value judgment or a claim about how things ought to be. It deals with values, not just facts. Option A is incorrect because a descriptive statement simply describes how things are without making a judgment. Option C is incorrect because a factual claim is a statement that can be proven true or false. Option D is incorrect because an empirical statement is based on observation or experience. 𝗬𝗢. Every time I wear my lucky socks, my team wins. Therefore, my lucky socks cause my team to win. This is an example of A. Slippery slope, B. False cause, C. Appeal to ignorance, D. Composition. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. False cause. Explanation. Option B is correct because this is a classic example of the false cause fallacy, specifically the post hoc ergo propter hoc type. The speaker mistakenly assumes that because one event consistently follows another, the first event must be the cause of the second. Option A is incorrect because a slippery slope would argue that wearing the socks will lead to a chain of other, unrelated events. Option C is incorrect because an appeal to ignorance would argue the socks work because no one has proven they don't. Option D is incorrect because the fallacy of composition involves reasoning from parts to a whole. 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥. An argument that offers reasons that are logically irrelevant to its conclusion commits which broad type of error? A. Fallacy of insufficient evidence. B. Fallacy of ambiguity. C. Fallacy of relevance. D. Formal fallacy. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Fallacy of relevance. Explanation. Option C is correct because fallacies of relevance are a class of logical errors where the premises of an argument are not logically relevant to the conclusion. The argument relies on a distraction rather than on genuine support. Option A is incorrect because fallacies of insufficient evidence have relevant premises, but they are too weak to support the conclusion. Option B is incorrect because fallacies of ambiguity arise from the unclear or multiple meanings of words or phrases. Option D is incorrect because a formal fallacy is an error in the logical structure or form of an argument. 46. When analysing an argument, what is the first step you should typically take? A. Evaluate the truth of the premises. B. Identify the main conclusion. C. Look for fallacies. D. Determine if it's deductive or inductive. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Identify the main conclusion. Explanation. Option B is correct because the first step in analysing any argument is to understand what the arguer is trying to prove. Identifying the main conclusion provides the context for all other steps, such as identifying premises and evaluating the reasoning. Option A is incorrect because you cannot evaluate the premises until you know what conclusion they are supposed to be supporting. Option C is incorrect because looking for fallacies is part of the evaluation process, which comes after identifying the argument's components. Option D is incorrect because determining the argument type is a later step in the analysis, after understanding its basic structure. 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥. What is the purpose of using operational definitions in research or critical thinking? A. To make a term sound more impressive. B. To specify exactly how a concept or variable will be measured or identified in a particular context. C. To give the dictionary meaning of a word. D. To make a definition intentionally vague. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. To specify exactly how a concept or variable will be measured or identified in a particular context. Explanation. Option B is correct because an operational definition translates an abstract concept into a concrete, measurable, or observable variable. It defines a term by the specific operations or procedures used to identify and quantify it, ensuring clarity and replicability in research. Option A is incorrect because the goal of an operational definition is clarity and precision, not impressiveness. Option C is incorrect because that describes a lexical definition. Option D is incorrect because the purpose is to eliminate vagueness, not create it. 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥. A sound deductive argument is one that is A. Valid and has all true premises. B. Strong and has all true premises. C. Valid, even if its premises are false. D. Persuasive to most people. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. A. Valid and has all true premises. Explanation. Option A is correct because the definition of a sound argument requires two conditions to be met. The argument must be deductively valid, and all of its premises must be actually true. Option B is incorrect because a strong argument with true premises is called cogent, a term used for inductive arguments. Option C is incorrect because this describes a valid argument, which is only one of the two conditions for soundness. An argument can be valid, but not sound if its premises are false. Option D is incorrect because persuasiveness is a matter of rhetoric, not logical soundness. 𝗬𝗢𝗨. If a person uses a word in two different senses within the same argument, leading to a confusing or misleading conclusion, what fallacy is committed? A. Amphiboly, B. Equivocation, C. False dilemma, D. Hasty generalization. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Equivocation. Explanation. Option B is correct because the fallacy of equivocation occurs when a key term or phrase in an argument is used with two or more different meanings, making the argument appear sound when it is not. Option A is incorrect because amphiboly is a fallacy of ambiguity that arises from confusing grammatical structure, not from a single ambiguous word. Option C is incorrect because a false dilemma presents only two choices. Option D is incorrect because a hasty generalization draws a conclusion from an insufficient sample. _50. What is the primary goal of Socratic questioning in critical thinking? A. To win an argument by confusing the opponent. B. To explore complex ideas deeply, uncover assumptions, and distinguish what is known from what is not known. C. To quickly arrive at a simple answer. D. To make the other person feel unintelligent. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. To explore complex ideas deeply, uncover assumptions, and distinguish what is known from what is not known. Explanation. Option B is correct because Socratic questioning is a disciplined method of inquiry used to explore complex ideas, analyze concepts, uncover underlying assumptions, and trace the logical implications of beliefs. Its goal is to stimulate critical thinking and self-discovery. Option A is incorrect because the goal is collaborative exploration of truth, not winning a debate. Option C is incorrect because the Socratic method often reveals complexity rather than finding quick, simple answers. Option D is incorrect because while it can be challenging, the intent of Socratic questioning is to foster intellectual humility and understanding, not to belittle someone. You have reached the end of our first question set. For the free complete exam preparation, visit our website link in the description, where you find thousands more practice questions and comprehensive study guides. Thanks for studying with us today. See you in the next video.